All right, well, after the fantastic first effort of recording this video, I went to edit it, and I could probably insert something here and show you that literally the entire hour that I filmed was out of focus. So, bigger light, different color over there, and I don't have anything on the screen. So let's hope that this focuses on this. That's all I ask. Let's get into it. Welcome back, Legends. What's going on? My name's Kurt Rosie. This is zoop.vc, and today we're talking about iRacing and a career path. Yes, those things do go hand in hand. You can go from rookies to racing for real money in iRacing. So that's why a lot of people choose it as their simulator of choice. Today, I'm going to give you something for free. That's right, you heard it. I spent a lot of time on this, probably too much time actually. I spent a lot of time on making a free resource for you to pick the best career choices in your iRacing career. Career choices in your iRacing career. Sure, I'm sure that's the best thing I could come up with. I actually wrote a full script for this. I never do that. I write a couple of dot points and then I just wing it. So you guys should consider yourself lucky. Anyways, today we're going to talk about how to go pro. You might be asking yourself, but how do I forge my own pathway in iRacing? How do I do it? Where do I start? Where do I end up? What content do I buy? I'm going to answer everything today. Well, maybe not everything, but I'm going to give you a lot of information. I'm going to break this down into 4 categories. So we've got sports car racing, open wheel racing, oval racing, and dirt and off-road racing. Like I said, I've created a free reference that I'm going to try and keep up to date as possible. Things change a lot in iRacing, and pretty often. Even when I started writing this and coming up with the idea, things have already changed. So I've had to adjust the script, I've had to adjust the flowcharts. Now the reality is, there's a lot of ways that you can tackle iRacing. You can stay in rookies forever if you really wanted to. I'm just going off my personal experiences, what I find enjoyable in the sim. I was always one that really wanted to try and forge my way into a bit of a career. Now, iRacing used to have an iRacing career path on their website. I don't think they have that anymore, and I think that was a really missed opportunity because there's a lot of people that sort of want to know what's the next natural progression, or they want to know where they're aiming and how do they get there. What's the best kind of series that can help you prepare for that? Like I said, things change a lot. Content becomes legacy. Participation is abysmal for some stuff. Just make sure you are conscious of this before purchasing any content. Some cars don't get run in official series anymore, and even those with official series don't get the participation they need to go official. So be conscious of that, and as always, remember, please buy tracks over cars. It is not really worth buying every single GT3 car as soon as you hit D-Class. It is not worth it. And if you are going to buy content, do it in lots of 3. You'll get a little discount. All right, here's a little rundown of the iRacing licensing system. So you'll have 5 classes or 5 disciplines and 5 licenses that go with those. You'll have sports car, open wheeler, oval racing, dirt road, and dirt off-road. In all 5 of these, you'll start with 2.5 safety rating and a rookie license. So this means that you'll have access to all of the content that a rookie does. All of the content that is rookie is free. So the cars are free, the tracks are free. The other thing you have to pay for is a subscription. Now your aim is, as a rookie, if you want to get out of rookies, which most people do, is to increase your safety rating. Now the best way to do that is drive safely in a race. That means not going off the track, not spinning out, not crashing into any other cars. Rookies isn't the place to worry about the position you finish in the race. It is about incidents per corner, which is how safety rating is calculated and whether or not you gain or lose it. You get 17 incident points in a race, sometimes a little bit more if it's an enduro race, and 25 incident points will see you get disqualified from a race. That is not good for your safety rating. In the post-race results page, you'll see the gains and losses for your previous race. Now, one more thing on safety rating is that if you drop below 1.0 after you're out of D class, if your safety rating drops below 1.0 when you're a C class or above, you'll drop down to the next license until you get to D class, which obviously you can't get further than D class. You can't go back to rookies. The idea behind license progression is to get to 3.0 safety rating. This will get you out of rookies and into D class. From then on, you'll need either 3.0 safety rating and your minimum participation races, or 4.0 safety rating and your minimum MPR races. Now, if you only get to 3.0 at the end of the season, it will roll over to your new license class. But if you get to 4.0, you can fast track. Sports cars, or tin tops as they're referred to in real life, are probably one of the most popular disciplines on iRacing. It's one of the reasons most people get into iRacing is to race GT cars, prototype cars, and there's a massive amount of options and series, and it only gets more complicated the higher license you go up. Now, as a rookie in a sports car, I would definitely suggest the MX-5. That car is probably what everyone starts on. It is what I started on when I started iRacing. It's a rear-wheel drive buzz box that will teach you car control. It'll teach you a little bit of racecraft as well. But the focus here as a rookie is to just drive safely. So just make sure that you can drive the MX-5 around the track safely. Don't rejoin into anyone. Just remember, MX-5 is all free content, free tracks, it's a free car. So all you need is an iRacing subscription to drive it. Now, for some reason in my script, I've written the next sentence in all capitals. Now, I can't tell if that was a mistake or whether or not I really wanted to emphasize this. So I'm going to read it like I wrote it. D class is where things start to get interesting, and when you can start to really find your niche. That didn't need to be in uppercase. The GR86 is probably the best D class sports car I've driven. A lot of people don't like it. I'm not sure why. I think it's fantastic. It's lots of grip, probably too much grip, but that's part of the fun. But I've had some really good races there, and it being a little bit slower, it can teach you a lot of stuff about racecraft that even I learned when I went back to it recently. It's also a free car, so it comes with the iRacing subscription. D-Class series tend to have a mixture of free and paid tracks. I think it's usually half-half. For a 12-week season, it's probably about 6 tracks that are free, 6 tracks that are paid. Sometimes more, sometimes less. The Ferrari Fix Challenge is the first real taste of GT3 driving. And whilst the driving standards can be questionable, I've had some really good races there, and it definitely gets you prepared for GT3 driving with traction control, ABS, and mastering, all of that kind of stuff. If you're looking to move into the multi-class racing realm, I'd suggest jumping into the GT4 Fixed now to get a little bit more comfortable with the GT4s, racing with those. It is a fixed series, so you don't need to worry about setups or anything like that, and it will get you prepared for the Falcon Sports Car Challenge in C-Class. C-Class can be a little bit overwhelming for a sports car driver. Now, my first suggestion is never to go with the Porsche Cup car. That car is very difficult. I think I've driven that car more than any other car on the service in my 5 years of racing. The P Cup will teach you a lot. It'll teach you a lot of patience on the brakes, patience on the throttle, and patience on the steering, because it doesn't particularly do any of those very well at all. For most people, this is where it stops. The Porsche Cup is the esports car at the moment. The Porsche Esports Championship, one of the biggest pro sim racing championships that exist. It's some of the best drivers from the best teams battling it out for real money and real bragging rights. The other recommendation I have for C-Class is the Falcon Sports Car Challenge. I've only recently just gotten into this series, but the LMP3 is a fantastic car and is a really great entry-level prototype car. It's got a heap of downforce, it's a bit tricky under brakes, but the car is fantastic, and I'm so glad that I got peer pressured into buying it. This is really where you need to make sure you know what your goals are. Do you want to drive prototypes? Do you want to drive sports cars? If sports cars are your focus, continue with the GT4. The Falcon Sports Car Challenge is an open series, so that can add a little bit more strategy into your races for GT4, as well as trying to survive the LMP3 cars. Just remember, the Falcon Sports Car Series is an open setup race, which means that whilst you can use the fixed set that you've gotten from say the LMP3 fixed or the GT4 fixed provided by Iracing, you might benefit from looking into a setup shop. I personally use p1docs.com, and they are by far the best setups that I've ever had in my entire life. And that's not even a joke. I literally have gained like 600 iRating just because of those setups, and I'm not convinced it was anything to do with my skill level. B class is the big leagues. This is where it starts to get a little bit more serious. For GT drivers, you've got the GT Sprint Series and the GT3 Fixed Challenge. Now these use only GT3 cars, all of them, and it's the go-to for top tier GT3 driving. GT Sprint is a 40-minute race with a pit stop, and there's a little bit of strategy involved in there, fuel saving, maybe taking tires if the track is a little bit heavy on the tires. And they tend to go to all of the world-class tracks, and the popular tracks seem to be very, very strong with participation. Again, GT Sprint is an open series, so that means that there's probably benefit in you having a setup. Now, I have talked about setups in another video, so if you want to have a look at that, I don't know where the button is. It's either there or there. So either way, go and check it out. If you're new to GT3, my suggestion is probably just purchase the car that you enjoy the most. Each car kind of takes turns at being the best at some track, and the BOP changes fairly regularly. At the moment, the playing field is pretty level. So I would suggest going with one that you enjoy driving, the one that works with your driving style, the one that sounds the best. Yes, the Lambo sounds incredible. But that's probably the best thing to do. And then maybe later on, once you start getting to the top of the top, you can start looking at what cars are faster at what tracks, and looking at something like iracingdata.com or iracingstats. I think that's .com as well. iracingstats.com to find out which car is the fastest. If you're a prototype driver, the B-Class Prototype Challenge, formerly known as the LMP2 Prototype Challenge, has now morphed into a GTP fixed series. So 20-minute races, all of the five GTPs? BMW, Acura, Porsche, Cadillac, Rari. Yes, 5. Sadly, the LMP2 now only races in IMSA Open and IMSA Fix. So if you want to get your fix of, I've said fix a lot. If you want to get your fix of LMP2, be careful of that when you purchase it, because it is only available in A class. A class, IMSA. IMSA was moved from B class to A class and is now the top tier content when it comes to sports car. It's multi-class racing with GTPs or LMDHs, LMP2 and GT3, with massive fields at world-class tracks. It's a 45-minute race with a pit stop involved, and of course it's multi-class, so you've got to be careful of either faster cars or slower cars. For prototype drivers, this is where you need to be. The GTPs are an incredible car to drive. This is the top of the top when it comes to prototype driving. Management of the battery system can provide a little bit of extra strategy, as well as tire saving and fuel saving. GT3 drivers looking for a multi-class race or just a different rotation of tracks can try out IMSA as well. Be careful, because GTP drivers are never in the wrong. IMSA is the latest series to get a pro series finally attached to it. The IMSA Esports Global Championship is a 4-round series. Teams from around the world like Team Redline and Williams Esports with 2 drivers take on 2 hours and 40-minute races with 2 people. I've watched a little bit of this, and it's been some incredible driving, and you can tell that these are the best sim racers on the planet driving these cars. Starting your rookie career in open wheeler, I would suggest going with the Formula Ford. It's probably one of the best cars in the service, and some high I-rating people still race this car to this day. It's a fantastic car to learn things like slip angle and racecraft, because formula cars are a little bit dicey to race right up next to each other. Formula V is the other option that you could run as a rookie. Personally, don't like the Formula V. I find the Formula Ford a little bit better to drive, but the V can also provide some great racing, and you can also back-to-back Formula Ford and Formula V, so you don't have to wait around too long. D-Class in open wheelers offers another series for Formula Ford, the Formula 1600 Trophy series, which also has slightly longer races with open and fixed setups. The real racing begins in Formula 4 though. Now, Formula 4 has been known to be filled with bandits, so be conscious of that before stepping in there. But I've also had some of the best racing I've had in there, going 4 wide up Eau Rouge, all racing side by side for an entire lap. The Formula 4 also has regional races now, so you might be able to get something that's a little bit more accommodating for your time zone. I know they have an Australian one, I think they have a US one. C-Class introduces a couple of different Formula cars. Since the Formula 4, the Formula 3 has actually been a little bit better in terms of driving standards. Back when I was first starting out, the Formula 3 car was known for having bandits in it, but it's a fantastic car to drive. I've done a lot of league races in the Formula 3, and it's a fantastic car to have close racing with, as well as being a handful on cold tyres. These days, Formula 3 does tend to struggle with participation, unless it's at a popular track, so just be conscious of that as well. The new kid on the block is the Super Formula Light, which is basically a Formula 3 with a turbo slapped on it and a little bit more downforce. The car is definitely a lot of fun. With all that downforce and that slightly more power, makes for some really good racing. The problem is that the driving standards aren't exactly perfect, and I've had some pretty average races in that car. B-Class introduces one of my favorite cars on the service, the Super Formula 23, or the SF23. It's a stupidly fast car that'll teach you throttle modulation, brake application, and just cojones. It's also got a push to pass system that has a certain amount of seconds that you can use it per race with a recharge time. This car will definitely test your mathematical skills as you try and work out how many laps left in the race and how many seconds is that and how many seconds of push to pass do I have left, and I don't want it to finish too early, but I don't want to finish too late because then I'm wasting it. Anyways, it's going to be a lot of fun if you get into it. It traditionally races at Japanese tracks, but obviously there's only a handful of those on iRacing, so they do mix it up with some other stuff. Whilst my suggestion for the A-Class in open wheelers is the Formula A series, this series doesn't really get participation. It runs the Mercedes W13 car. It has open and fixed, the open being twice the length of the fixed, but it introduces things like tire strategy where you can go from hard, medium to soft tires. My suggestion here is probably having a crack at the Formula IGPT series, which is the closest thing that you'll get to iRacing's version of the real Formula 1 calendar. These races can be over 2 hours, sometimes close to 3, so they can really test you. There is a pro series when it comes to open wheelers. The Turn Racing Grand Prix series, the world's most elite iRacers battle it out in the Dallara IR01 for over $25,000 US. When it comes to oval racing, your best option for rookies is a street stock. I've done hundreds, maybe even thousands of laps in the street stocks, and man, this car is fantastic to drive once you work it out. This series goes to a few different tracks, so you can learn the tracks quite well and learn what's fast and what's not fast. These cars are a great way to learn how to be smooth with your inputs when it comes to oval racing, whether that's turning in, throttle application. It'll teach you a lot of stuff that you'll take with you in your oval career. Once you hit D-Class, the natural progression is to go to the ARCA Menard series. Now, I'd skip this. I didn't do the ARCA series. I moved straight to, which I'll explain in a second. But I have heard reports, and I do now have the ARCA car, but I've heard reports that can be a lot of chaos. I've done a few races there, and it's fun, but that car's a handful, and you can tell that people definitely are a D-Class driver. Now, alternatively, what you can do is run rookie street stocks all the way through rookie, get your D-Class, and then get all the way to D 4.0 just in rookie street stocks. And then what you can do is do the advanced street stocks, which is a C-Class race, and get your MPR races that way. And then you'll automatically be fast-tracked to C-Class. This way you save money on buying a car, and you can buy some more tracks for when you get to C-Class. Now, from C to A-Class in oval is really where the NASCAR starts to take shape. In C-Class, you get access to the trucks, which introduces things like pit stops, full course yellow flags, that's what I was looking for, full course yellow flags, as well as green, white, checkered flags as well. It has a fixed series, so you don't need a setup. It also has an open series, which is slightly longer as well. Goes the same for the B-Class. It is just a slightly different car. It's not a truck anymore. It is the Xfinity car. And also you have slightly longer races than C-Class, and you'll also have slightly even longer races in the open setup. And then A-Class will be the next gen car. And again, longer races again in the fixed and even longer again in the open. Now, there's a fair few top series in iRacing for oval races. I don't 100% know all of them. All I know is the NASCAR Coca-Cola series, which is probably the top of the top, where the best oval races are. Now, to get there, you need to go through the Road to Pro series, which is in the trucks, and this can be mighty competitive. I've seen a few people who I've thought were incredible drivers still fall short due to luck, due to other people causing incidents. It is tough to get to the top. And then the top 20 from that series go into the NASCAR Coca-Cola series. And the NASCAR Coca-Cola series is now in its 16th season. So it's been around for a while. And I think this year it's something like $100,000 worth of prizes. Insanity, but some of the races in that are incredible. I've seen 4 wide for the win on like the last lap of a race. So it is intense racing, but it is great to watch. Now I'm going to combine these two into one because they are slightly smaller than the others. Dirt road is everything rallycross and everything off-road truck. The VW Beetle Light is the rookie road rally car. Wow, there's a lot of R's. Rookie road rally. Why does anyone watch this? For dirt road, there is not a lot of participation outside of rookies. Now, the license progression thing still happens the exact same, but once you get to D class, the participation tends to drop off pretty significantly. Now, you can still run the VW in the D class. I actually don't know how far up you can run that VW, but I'm pretty sure you can run it almost to the top. It does, D class and C class introduces a few new cars. I've got the Subaru WRX, there's a Ford Fiesta. Cool cars for slightly different reasons. But yeah, like I said, the downside is that these rarely get participation. So it's hard to find official races for anything outside of rookies. And that goes for both Rallycross and the Truck Series. Truck Series rookies always goes official. Now, in saying that, both of those categories, the trucks, the pro off-road trucks, and the Rallycross cars, both have an Esports Pro Championship, which to be honest, doesn't look like it ran in 2024. Now that I'm looking at it, I really should do more research before I make these videos. That ended in 2021. So it looks like both of those don't have Pro Series. Cool. So glad that I looked this up prior. Now, the other side of dirt is dirt oval. Now, you start in the dirt street stocks, which is literally just the street stocks from the oval side, and just slap some massive tires on there and just send it. This can be extremely fun. I've had a lot of fun races in these dirt street stocks. They are a handful and they will work your forearms as well. Make sure you map a tear off button because clay in your face for a 20 lap race is not fun. Now, after rookie class, again, participation drops off pretty heavily. Once you start introducing paid tracks, people tend to lose interest. You have a couple of options when it comes to dirt oval. Once you leave rookies, you've got the late model cars and you've got the sprint cars. Now, sprint cars are what everyone knows dirt oval is. And it also has a Pro Series. So the World of Outlaws Pro Series still continuing, thanks to my fact check literally 30 seconds ago. And it's a 10-week series with up to almost $20,000 US up for grabs. So if you're in a dirt oval, this could be your career. All right, that's all I have for you guys. I don't know if that's helped anyone. And if it has, please let me know because I spent a lot of time putting this together. Actually, twice now. I've actually recorded this whole thing twice. But this is kind of where I want this channel to go. I want to be able to provide education and I want to provide entertainment. Now, I'm coining that word that's definitely been used before as edutainment. If that's where this sits, I'm happy. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. It really helps out. We're getting pretty close to getting up to that 1,000 subscribers mark. I also stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays over on twitch.tv/ZoopTV. If you enjoyed this, please drop a comment. I really want to hear from you. And of course, I'm going to try and keep that resource as up to date as possible. So I'll probably try and have a live link of it somewhere as well. I already need to change the rally side of things and the pro series, the pro off-road series. So things are already changing and I literally just recorded it. So I'm going to try and keep that up to date as possible. I hope this wasn't too long. It's pretty long. I'm pretty sure I've been doing this for over an hour. So, and that's now the second take of that as well. Thanks guys. Take it easy. It was easy. Take it. Peace.